Learn from the mistakes that others often make. Listen to marketing pains and don't go insane. Okay, so let's talk about what to wear on a video shoot. First thing I want to say is be yourself, wear whatever you want to wear. I don't want you to think I'm coming in to be like, this is how you have to be, some misogynistic crap, all right? So be yourself. Whatever your brand is, go with it. I'm going to give you a couple cautionary tales of ways I have seen video shoots ruined by outfits and simple things like that. Okay, so let's start off with the first things as far as things not to wear. I would say no green, especially if you're doing a green screen shoot. I've had this happen. I was very distracted doing a green screen shoot. We were trying to get everything set up, lights and all this stuff. And then they didn't notice that one of the talent was wearing a green tie. So when we go into post-production to key all the green out, this guy had a giant hole in his chest where the green was. Now we were able to fix it. That wasn't a big deal, but I was laughing at myself for not noticing that. So try to avoid green, especially in some studio settings. It won't work. Thin stripes. Cameras have gotten a lot better. It's not as big of a deal as it used to be, but super thin stripes, those kind of micro stripes are super thin, can do weird things to camera. They can bend and look like something out of, what's that movie where the time bends? Oh, now I can't remember. Anyway, it'll look funny. We'll go with that. Jingle jangly jewelry that's super loud. It will look great on you, and it's great when you're just talking to friends, but on camera it can be super distracting because rather than hearing your voice, they're just going to hear jewelry jumping around. So I've had this happen lots of times, especially with any kind of wrist bracelets. I've also had, and I've had this on guys and girls. I had a shoot, it was a really cool shoot. This guy was wearing this really cool African necklace. We didn't know that, so we had brought a lav mic, so hooked the mic on him, and the microphone was just at war with this necklace for the entire video shoot. We ended up working it out, everything was fine, but it was a struggle. We should have had different audio set up. So if you're gonna wear something like that, it's good to give the video production crew a notice in advance because we can plan around ways to work around that. If that's part of what we're filming, and this day it was, then it's good to know that. Also, I've had this happen. Oh man, I hired this sound tech and I thought everything was going great. First time working with this guy, which is, I guess I should have learned my lesson. And he wasn't really paying attention to audio, like that was his job. And this woman was wearing these giant hoop earrings, and the entire shoot, the earring was like assaulting the microphone, like, ended up trashing the entire video shoot because we couldn't use any of it because, yeah, anyway, unfortunate. But in the future, we always monitor that. That was one of those lessons learned early on in my career that I shall not repeat. So just make sure that your jewelry doesn't clash with audio. People will put up with bad visuals, bad lighting, but people don't like bad audio. So anything that's going to interfere with the sound can be a big deal. So that's something to think about. Flashing jewelry or shirts also. So jewelry and shirts, if you're wearing some kind of iridescent or reflective shirt, just make sure that whatever lighting you have, especially if you're outside, can coordinate with that, because it's very distracting if someone's looking at you, then all of a sudden they get blinded by this flash of light off your neon bright shirt. I love bright colors, but you just have to make sure that you're thinking about that as you're going into the shoot. Deep V's, again, wear what you want to wear, but I have seen videos where a guy shows up with a deep V, hair out, looks like he's from some kind of 80s band, and it just gives a weird vibe. If that's you, man, you do you. But people are going to be looking at your deep V and probably not listening to what you're wearing. Same thing, I had to re-edit an entire video. A woman was wearing a really deep V, and she was working with a lot of couples in real estate, and she felt like that might be a turnoff for some people. Everybody's different. You do you. Again, I'm not telling you, but we did have to re-edit the video because she felt like it was going to be a distraction from her main message. So always think about that first. You want people to hear your message and not be looking at your clothes unless you're selling clothes. If you're going to go on with your Hawaiian tropical shirt because that's your brand, that's great, but it could be a distraction from your main message and from what you're trying to sell or message you're trying to communicate. So always think through that. Let's go with what to wear. The biggest thing is to be on brand. If you show up to your client's house always wearing a polo and nice jeans, that's just what you do, then I would wear that in your video shoot. If you wear a tux in your video shoot and then you show up in jeans and a polo, it's going to be like, wait a minute, is this same brands? You want that continuity so people see you, they feel like they already know you, they don't feel like there's some huge contrast difference between you and who they actually meet in person. So try to build that continuity with your clothing and make sure it's not a distraction from what you're trying to sell. Coordinating with your background. If you have super light skin, you wear a super dark shirt, and you're on a dark background, you're going to look like a head just popping out. So you want to coordinate with whatever you're wearing so that way you can have some kind of contrast between your background. And really, it's all about contrast. You don't want to wear a yellow shirt on a yellow background. Excuse me. Don't want to wear a yellow shirt on a yellow background. Same thing for when it comes to contrast. If you want to coordinate the color of your skin with your outfit. If you have a really dark skin and you wear a really bright shirt and you're filming outside on a sunny day, it can be hard sometimes for cameras to balance the color, the exposure of your face and the exposure of your shirt. I've had this happen before, trying to get someone with darker skin on the camera and wearing a white shirt, and then the shirt was like glowing, completely blown out. You couldn't even see it on camera. It was so bright because we wanted to make sure we had really great lighting on their face. Now, there's lots of things you can do to fix that if you prepare in advance. So if that's what you're wanting to wear, just make sure that you have the correct light diffusion and everything to make sure that you can make everything look good. And so basically just coordinate with your videographer so that way there's no issues. Again, if you have super light skin like myself and you wear super dark colors, you want to make sure that there's not some kind of funky contrast that's going to look weird on camera. So something to think about. And the same thing with color tones. If you're wearing neon colors and that's going to be a distraction, then again, I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point. You get the idea. Coordinate so that way your clothes aren't a distraction unless you're selling clothes. That's it. All right. Next thing is makeup. Makeup for guys and girls. The biggest thing is if you're going to do makeup with a professional, you hire a professional that works in film and understands that. Now, we have a bunch of people that we can hire to bring in, but if you're going to bring your own person, if you tell them I'm going to be on camera and it's someone that's used to doing weddings, then they're used to putting makeup on to make sure that it lasts all day, that it's heavy and it looks great, which is great for a wedding. But when you go on camera with that same style of makeup, you can end up actually looking like you have really oily skin or really shiny because it just interacts with the lights in a very strange way. So really, you just want to make sure that whoever is doing the makeup has some experience. For the most part, when we're talking about corporate communications, usually just do what you normally do. Whatever you do on a day-to-day basis is fine. We don't need to go all out and extra. If you don't wear makeup, then don't wear makeup. If you do wear makeup, then great. And usually we can work with that. Usually when makeup becomes a big deal is when you're in front of like really bright stage lights. That's where you can get washed out or it'll change your skin tone actually. So you want to make sure that you are coordinating if you have big, heavy lighting, especially on a stage, and that can cause some problems. So coordinate makeup for the setting that you're going into. Coordinate it with your video production crew so that way you don't mess up. I've had video shoots messed up by makeup because someone didn't know what they're doing and the person didn't look like themselves. They showed up on camera with the makeup artist all excited to work with on camera, and then one of the lady was like, I walked on set and said, I am so upset. I look like a clown right now. I don't know what to do, nearly in tears because she had cakes and cakes of makeup on because the lady got a little excited, and we ended up redoing the shoot because it just did not look like herself. It was unfortunate, and that happens. So just make sure that what you work with is going to work for you. So, okay. I think that's everything. Ideally, again, just be yourself. Don't see me as trying to tell you how to conform to something. Be yourself, but make sure it fits with the brand and who you're trying to be. Hopefully that helps, and y'all have a great day.
Marketing Pains is a Suited Studios production and can watch and listen on all major podcast outlets. Staves off the pain. Use only as directed. Get your prescription at looksuited.com.